Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a game, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got to go out this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of cabin to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all, just fuck these hoes and live life. I grown the drill, I'm smart enough, you gotta know how to kill.
Days then burned into weeks before the team's first official practice. The others laughed and bantered in clusters, but Isagi stood alone, stretching in silence, his eyes fixed on the turf. No one bothered to show the newcomer around, although he didn't need them. The shrill blast of a whistle cut through the air. The head coach summoned everyone into a tight huddle, voice sharp, commanding. A simple drill to start. Pass, attack, finish. 1-on-1. Let's see who has the desire to win. The drill began, and the players charged at each other, testing their grit. Yet time after time, no one slipped past Isagi when he defended. He was relentless, a wall that refused to crumble. The assistant coach would smirk. We might have ourselves a star defender. But then, when Isagi switched to offense, lightning quick, ruthless with the ball, his feet danced, slicing through the defenders until they were sprawled on the ground, watching helplessly as he carved his way to the goal. He wasn't just talented, he was terrifying. By the end of practice, whispers began to spread. Some called him gifted, others arrogant. Although one thing was clear, nobody trusted the outsider. That evening, their first scrimmage began. For nearly the entire game, Isagi never touched the ball. Even when wide open, his teammates refused to pass to him. He muttered under his breath, bitterness in his voice. What's the point of even calling for the ball? They'll never give it to me anyway. The coaches exchanged a look. Maybe he lacked the hunger, or maybe he just wasn't who they thought he was. Then it happened, within an instant. A loose ball slipped free. A defender claimed it, charging forward into open grass only to be smashed aside by Isagi. I'll win, no matter the cost. In one fluid motion, he curved the ball into the net. Silence followed, and his teammates and coaches, stunned by what they had just seen. From that day forward, practice after practice, Isagi erupted in bursts of brilliance, an unstoppable force who could bend the ball and the field to his will. And soon, the season opener loomed in front of them. Their first test, Chelsea. Match day soon arrived. Within the locker room, Isagi was seen lacing up his cleats in silence. The starting lineup was announced, his name included. No surprise, his place was earned. The stadium roared as the players emerged. Fans packed the stands, scouts and professionals watching from the shadows. Kickoff. Chelsea opened in a 3-5-2 formation, dominating the middle field with crisp, calculated passes. A sudden strike rattled off the post, causing chaos to erupt within the box. Arsenal's players and their center mid scrambled to claim possession of the ball, cutting past one defender, and then two more had closed in. Ahead, Isagi stood open, perfectly onside. Come on, just give me the ball already. But the midfielder turned, sending it to the other wing. The shot that followed this sequence was smothered and cleared for a corner kick. The opportunity was gone. Moments later, Chelsea punished them by scoring the first goal, 1-0. This was right before the halftime, because they couldn't figure out anything to get past their defense. The whistle echoed like a deathly silence. As in the locker room, frustration boiled over. Isagi slammed his fist into the wall, his head bowed. But a familiar voice clawed its way into his mind, his adoptive father's. Win, no matter the cost. Isagi, do not fail me. The memory twisted into an old scene. Ray Dark's voice, venomous and cold. Listen, boy. Death is the only thing in this world that is absolute. besides victory. Sacrifice your mind, your body, your soul, everything for it. If you can't do that, then you're nothing. Just replaceable. Snapping back to the present, Isagi rose. Something had changed. His aura radiated fire, suffocating the room. Without a word, he tossed his towel to the floor and marched back out. The second half began. Chelsea pressed down the wing. But Isagi appeared. A flash of speed into a ruthless steal. And suddenly, he was sprinting down the sideline with nothing but free space. Defenders stumbling in his wake. With every single devastating move, he broke free. The net loomed in front of him. This is where he had a clear opportunity. He shoots. It ricochets against the net, rolling. A shot. A goal. And even more, an equalizer. The stadium erupted. But instead of cheers, some of his teammates approach, scowling. You should have passed. We were wide open. Don't play here. Isagi's eyes burned. Don't make me laugh. If you won't pass to me, fine. Just stay out of my way, or I'll burn you all down myself. Minutes later, he would strike again. Another goal. This time, a declaration as the winner. When the final whistle blew, disbelief swept the crowd. The outsider, isolated, doubted, and unwanted, had carried Arsenal's youth team to a victory over Chelsea. And this was just only the beginning. Soon, some weeks would pass, as their next match will be against Manshine City's youth team. At first, when hearing this, the team's excited, knowing that this will be a good match. However, Isagi is questionable. From the film that he watches, the players that they're scouting, there doesn't seem to be a clear prodigy that they're going against. Only an all-around team that works pretty well together, which was strange. Usually on any type of team, especially from England, there's a clear someone who wants to make a difference. But here there isn't, which might be a problem. Because if they somehow find this person late, it could cause a deadly situation. Traveling to the area, it's stiff here. The fans, they're suffocating. The energy, it was like no other. Most of Isagi's teammates, they weren't used to this type of pressure. But having been trained in America, Isagi knew it all too well. He's used to those roaring stadiums that shook during every move of a game. But this was different. It was more calm and collected here. The game began, and it seems that Arsenal still hadn't warmed up to Isagi. They passed around him, causing them to lose the ball. This is when Manshine began their own attack. Isagi was of course back on defense here, and ends up defending another prodigy from England, Agi. He's able to push back Isagi and his team for a moment, leading to their takeover, where they would score the first goal. But it seems that Isagi wasn't worried at all, figuring out that Agi, well, he was the tool making this machine continue to work. Focusing more on the play at hand, he began smirking. The game then resumes, and he's quickly defended by Agi. You know, I don't think you're too special at all. Isagi turns his back to him, this time receiving the ball. Agi then runs in to close out, only to have it flicked over his head. You're right, I'm not anything special. Just absolute, and nothing will stop me from achieving my goals. Shocked by this movement, he tries to recover, but Isagi's strength and speed somehow increase. What is this? How the hell are we even the same age? Isagi turns, pushing off of him, and looks up. Two defenders in front of him. There isn't a clear shot. Agi then reappears, trying to force him off of the ball, claiming that he should just give up and return to Japan. It seemed as if time then froze in this moment. Give up. Give up here of all places? Damn it all to hell. If I can't get through with dribbling, then I'll create a brand new path. Once more, using his strength to get Agi off of him, he performs a chop that completely loses him. Isagi now stood in a shooting position. Burn to ash. Isagi's eyes were seen in an awakening-like state as he performed his first cannon shot. It rotated forward with spin while skyrocketing through the tight window and into the back of the net. The crowd around them erupted and his teammates and opponents stood in awe. While looking at his hand, puzzle pieces began to form around him, each one showing key moments that led to another awakening for him. He was lost in thought as a voice rang out to him. Pretty good pass if I don't say so myself. Oh, sorry to burst your bubble, but there's still a match to win. I mean, we could goof off, but I think we'd both get scolded for that, and I've already been scolded too much as of this week. Isagi turns to see a teammate. Elias Navarro stood right in front of him with his hand out. His hair was curly and dark, and it was just slightly taller than Isagi. Elias played in the center mid position, but was a freak of nature when truly controlling the pitch. Oh, well, I guess I haven't introduced myself. I'm Elias, but you can just call me Eli, since we're partners now. Isagi blankly stares at him. He hasn't even seen him at all in the last 4 practices. Eli laughs it off, telling Isagi he has a bad habit of doing that. However, within Isagi's mind, he comes to a realization. Even without showing up to a lot of our team's practices, this idiot is still allowed to start the match? No. He must be a monster himself. Fine. If this benefits me, I'll keep him around. Isagi shakes his hand, and the two head back to reset the game with the rest of their team. Now, armed with a new ally, Isagi's journey takes a great leap. From this point on, in the match, there was no stopping Arsenale's offense nor their defense. Elias was truly a midfield spectacle, a young lazy prodigy with an incredible football IQ and awareness. He reads each play like the back of his hand to assist Isagi in his next 2 goals, earning him his first hat trick of the season in winning this game. From here on out, Isagi and Eli, well, they had a pretty good relationship. Soon their next match would arrive. Back-to-back games on the road, entering Liverpool's arena. This would be a game that would test them truly, their rivals. But this is where Isagi makes his true claim to the world, as something happens in the middle of this match that causes a drastic change within him. An overwhelming win against a rival was earned here. His teammates finally see him not as a winger, but as someone who could be a warrior on the battlefield, one who could carry both a sword and a shield. Fans, struck by his relentless drive, his crimson Arsenal kit drenched in sweat and fire. He's given a new name here, the Crimson Knight. The nickname spreads across England overnight, and for Isagi, it cements him to both his rise as Arsenal's true winger and something more, as his ego burned dangerously hot. But the catalyst that created the ender for that match, that sparked that turn in the game, will later be revealed in our story. And from that moment on, 2 years pass. Isagi now stands at the same age as his canon self, but here, he carries a new name that holds an even greater weight. He no longer is just a rising star. He's one of the new Gen 11, a knight among prodigies. At Arsenal, he doesn't linger in the shadows of youth football. He's climbed into the adult squad, not as a prospect, but as a starter, a true weapon among legends. Beside him, Elias Navarro rises as well, but his role was different. He's an impact player. coming as a spark off the bench when Arsenal's rhythm demanded change. Together, they've carved quite the career in Europe. And yet, while Arsenal dominates, something else begins to stir back in Japan. Blue Lock. Isagi hears whispers of it through Ray Dark, though he brushes it aside. He has bigger battles, larger wars to fight. Still curious, he wonders. He assigns someone to monitor the project, not out of concern, but out of fascination. What kind of striker could a crucible like Blue Lock forge? He wonders. If I am the winger, and Hitoshi Sai is the conductor in the midfield, what monster of a striker might rise to complete the trinity? Then, it happens. Japan's U20 team, the pride of the nation, falls to Blue Lock's 11, a band of strikers. Isagi, stunned, wastes no time. He begins packing, preparing to return home. When his phone would then ring, his father's voice, sharp and commanding, cuts through the silence. Yoichi Isagi, home calls for you once more. There seems to be something blooming in the darkness. Find out what it is, and do not disappoint me. This might be what changes the world. The line goes dead. A notification flashes. An email. Isagi reads it, smirks, and his eyes, they ignite with something primal. Pride, passion, and even conviction. Once more, his hunger awakens. And to Japan, he whispers, "Wait a little longer. Your knight is returning." Time shifts. The Egoist League is announced. Teams gather. Nations wait in anticipation. Arsenal's roster glimmers with brilliance. Chris Prince as their master. Agi in the midfield, alongside Eli. And now, the Crimson Knight himself. In a darkened chamber, the Blue Lock strikers await. The air is heavy. Anticipation seen across all their faces. Chris Prince strides forward, basking in the spotlight, his voice slicing through the tension. He praises their talents and their bodies and their limitless potential, dragging the speech with theatrical flair until, at last, his tone shifts. But the strongest player on this team isn't even a striker. He's a blade, a shield, a warrior on the wing. Arsenal's very own Crimson Knight, Yoichi Isagi. The spotlight snaps onto Isagi, standing tall, his gaze fixed on somewhere else beyond the room. He doesn't flinch from the spotlight. He embraces it, standing with pride. He was a knight, awaiting orders from his prince, waiting to go straight into war. Slowly, he turns to the strikers, steps deliberate, echoing like the drumbeats of war. He then speaks. His voice is iron. "I came here for one reason, and one reason only: to win. As a knight on the field, I hold only one decree. My orders are absolute." So what happens now? Isagi has made his return to Japan to enter the Egoist League alongside Agi, Eli, and now Chris Prince. How is this new Arsenal team going to match up against the other three teams that were waiting? Is it possible that we'll see a new Nagi Seishiro, who studies under another lazy prodigy in Elias? Or will we see Isagi help the young strikers develop? Or could it be that he wants the glory of battle all to himself? Drop any ideas, thoughts, or scenarios you want to see in part 3 down below. This is Zero, and I'll catch you all on the next one.